Good evening and welcome to the South County Fire Board of Commissioners regular board meeting for May 20th, 2025. I'll go ahead and call us to order and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I believe we have Liaison Swisher and Commissioner Wittes on Zoom with us tonight. Good evening. Okay, next up is approval of the agenda. Board members, you have the draft agenda in front of you. I don't believe, Chief, there's anything else for the agenda. Anything else for the agenda? If not, I'll move the draft agenda. Approval of the draft agenda. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the draft agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That moves us forward in the agenda to item number 4, which is the consent agenda. And that's 4A. We have the May 2025 claims vouchers totaling $1,875,804.05. I'll move the adoption of those claims vouchers. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Teoflag. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the claims vouchers in the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. That moves us forward in the agenda then to item number 5, which is approval of the meeting minutes. And this evening we have 5A, which is the May 6, 2025 regular meeting minutes and the May 13, 2025 work session meeting minutes. I will move the adoption of those two sets of meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by, what's his name? Commissioner Fernhoff, down there at the end of that table.
Actually, I do have a questions in here. I always want to ask why we have to do meetings, work session, and then May 6th, regular meeting.
I think that has to do with the font, the way
PDF?
I think it's the way the, our Granicus system is set up. Am I
That's
right? Or-
correct.
Yes,
So we have to
it's repeated like that.
repeatedly, you PDF and everything.
But there's a hyperlink on there for the electronic version for,
Oh,
that you can
okay,
go
so,
to.
so even that is that, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So moved and seconded to adopt those two sets of meeting minutes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, up next is item number 6, and we have public comment. We'll start first in the room. Is there any request for public comment first here in the meeting room? Any request for public comment? If not, we'll go to our online platform. I'll turn it over to Ms. Blankenship to let me know on our Zoom platform. Do we have any request for public comment?
We do not.
All right, Ms. Blankenship, thank you. I'll come back to the room. Any request for public comment in the room? One last opportunity. Great, thank you. No request for public comment. We will move forward then in the agenda. Thank you to item number 7, which is the fire chief's report. Good evening, Chief Eastman.
Good evening, Chair Kenny, board, liaisons, guests, staff. Before just logistics, Melissa, could you send Richard an invite to the meeting because he's going to be on for 9B? Perfect, thank you. A real brief chief's report. As you know, I'm light some of the usual suspects that are here with me. Jason, Sean, and Todd were over at the Chiefs Conference in Richland. Sean came back for the meeting today. Just to let you guys know, Sean was actually the keynote speaker yesterday for the Chiefs Conference, and it was probably it is the most well-attended Chiefs Conference to date. So, again, where people know who we are, and Sean gets asked to do that a lot. I think this is the first time you've done the keynote at the Chiefs. He's lectured at the Chiefs before. Another piece is just to let you guys know, I've been asked to speak at the AWC conference in June. I'll be over there on the morning of the 25th, and they want to talk about it's really fire service regionalization and funding and some of the pros and the cons and the pitfalls when it comes to some of the things we've done with regards to regionalization. So I want to thank the Commissioner Teoflock and Commissioner Farinoff for joining us on Saturday at the open house at Station 22. I guess I want to thank, Christy and Shawnery and their team. There is a lot of there and the volunteer support group and the volunteer firefighters we have. There's a lot of people that do a lot of work to make those things happen. And I guess I knew that. I happen to go, I don't get to go to all the open houses. I was at this one, and I think attendance was better than they thought it was going to be, even with the rain we had. So again, it doesn't go unnoticed when commissioners are at those. And so I want to thank, Commissioner Teoflock and Farinoff for being there, and let you know it was another success at Station 22. And that's a combination of the great work that the men and women in the streets do, and then the great work that Christy and her team do, letting people know what we do in this organization and we're here to serve. So, and I think the last thing I have, no, I'll do yours last. The last thing I have is I'll be at the State of the City of Montlake Terrace address tomorrow night. Just to let you guys know, I think that's the last one of the year. It was an invite thing. They're doing a little bit different than they have in the past. So, I'll be there tomorrow night. And with that, I'll turn it over to Sean. Sean wanted to give a little bit of update on our, opioid grant.
Good evening, board. I just wanted to give a quick update on what's going on with our opiate grant. As you know, the state legislature put pass-through funding through the UW for us to work with the opiate fentanyl crisis. And I think we all know the extreme budget issues at the state level. So they actually cut fast and they cut deep, and our grant was cut. However, I think we are in good shape to keep it going for the rest of the year. So that was funding our captain over the program and a community health worker. The community health worker actually accepted another job and they are gone. So we did not backfill that position. And then, as you know, we have an agreement with Surfer that gave us a cash infusion of $100,000. And so that probably used that money to carry the captain through the rest of the year. But we've also had multiple cities approach us wanting to partner, have a deeper partnership with the community medic program. And they're talking about funding. They're talking about going after grants that we're not eligible for, that only cities are eligible for. And he's actually a really good grant writer. So I just wanted to give the board the update that while we're losing the grant funding, we've gotten $100,000, it's $94,000 infusion from the Surfer agreement. And he can keep doing his job. We'll leave the other position unfunded or unfilled. And then he will pivot to working with the cities for other funding opportunities. And then we can regroup at the end of the year. And that's the end of my report.
Questions from the board members for the chief's report?
I guess this is a comment.
Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
Actually, I was at another event and just one of the city council, Monty Terrace council person. I didn't realize you have to be invited. So he invited me, but I said,
That's an invite, Commissioner Chang.
So what?
That's an invite.
Yeah, no, he actually invited, he said he can go tax right away. And I thought I'm going to get Commissioner Withers would go with me because we both are intergovernment committee. And unfortunately, he cannot come, but I will definitely appreciate you there. I think in a sense that we need to be, now Edmonds done. We have so much attention to Edmonds. I think other city, I think we should go to Linwood and go to Monty Terrace just to show that, they are part of the family. We need to show up and listen to them or any other input from them. So I'll be attending that tomorrow.
And Commissioner Kenny, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
just one quick thing. I also did want to give her just some outcomes on our opiate program. We've given 38 administrations of the BUP so far this year, and 72% have stayed in recovery. And those are spectacular numbers. So the program is changing lives and saving lives. So we'd like to figure out ways to keep it going.
I think that's another thing that we need to go to city they may not read the thing. We should really let them know what we have done, you know, for the progress. This is kind of progress report.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
Thank you, both Chief Eastman, Chief Maxwell, for your reports. You piqued my curiosity. Grants that are not available to the RFA, but are available to cities. We have 5 cities currently within the RFA. Has there been any sort of discussion about forming a task force to seek funding based through the cities that then would allow us to continue and expand this kind of service?
That's exactly, you're tracking exactly, Commissioner. I think that's where we're hoping the partnership will go.
Okay.
Yes. That it's the cities, actually Linwood spearheaded it, but they had organized the other cities, and I guess over the years they used to know about our community medic program, maybe lost a little track of it. They wanted a refresher on it. And then when they got the refresher on it, they're like, how do we lean into this? We're willing to help fund it if you can help us more. And then they said, the Washington Association, there's just different things cities are eligible that RFAs aren't. And they said, and let's partner and find ways to help you guys find more funding.
So if I understand you right, the city of Linwood has communicated with other cities, but have we yet to say, hey, form a task force of some kind that gives visibility to this, but also allows some sort of structure so the grant performance metrics can be then demonstrated back to the issuer? And are they, by the way, are the grants like 12 months, 3 years, 5 years in depth? Do they have a scope?
We're not that far ahead
Not
on
that far
everything.
ahead, okay.
Thank you, though. We've had 3 different meetings. We're starting to have some sub meetings. Chief Hughes and I went and met with all the police chiefs in the area because they're very interested in it. So we met with some city administrators. Now we've met with police chiefs. We're working our way forward, but I think we're tracking exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I for one am really interested in that dialogue, knowing what's at risk, what has already become a casualty in the grants space, you know, at least for emergency management.
Yeah.
This is a critical time to start that dialogue, those partnerships. And if it's something that the RFA can do that a city can't, then we might be able to apply, and vice versa. I love that creative thinking. I think that's just outstanding.
Oh, thank you, sir. And Captain Sharp, who came to oversee the opiate program, he runs a nonprofit, and we discovered that he is really good at grant writing. And so that is why we pivoted to keep him going, because I think he's the perfect person to help explore this for the rest of the year and keep the opiate program going.
Well, please extend our collective thank yous to him and anyone who's touched this program. That's outstanding. I really like that.
Thank you.
Got one more.
Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
Well, I want to congratulate, appreciate, I just saw that Linwood Times, I know you guys told us a while ago, Linwood Times showing that 50 women will participate in this. They said 50 women interested in career, so none of them are currently with any of them, right? They're just interested in it. And then we're also hosting it up with Everett, Server,
Women Empire.
Snohomish Regional, also Marysville and all of that. So I think that's a very good, I think we have been always known to be leaders in everything, right? So I think that is really, I appreciate you. So so with these people, I would like to know how many of them really apply and all of that stuff, follow up on that. Has anyone?
Yeah, Commissioner Chen, yes. So this has been going on about a year, and they were looking for a place to host a Women in Fire event. And we stepped up and offered it, and we hosted the first one here.
Okay.
And Captain Nicole Picknell, she partnered. There's another firefighter paramedic at Surfer, but Captain Picknell spearheaded it. I believe there was 25 already employed women firefighters that came here and helped with the event. So this is the second event. I mean, we don't know. I believe at least five women who went through that have been hired, but it really built their confidence. There could have been others, but we don't track when other people hire, but it has been successful and women are getting hired through it.
Okay.
I'll add to that out of the recruit academy that just graduated the academy last week, Thursday, we had a female firefighter in that academy and she went through that program last year. So we hired somebody who went through the inaugural class that Sean's talking about here in the RFA.
So when we say firefighter, it means all paramedic or people interested, EMT, that type of thing, right?
They're going to be primarily entry-level EMTs
Right,
rather than paramedics.
right. So I know it's not popular to say it now. Can we use that as like inclusion? I mean, diversity, that's even a bad word now, but can we use that as a, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, and honestly, we're doing a really good job here. We have a higher than average amount of female firefighters.
No, I'm thinking about in the city, people, I know you, I'm going for, people, other people opportunity. That's how I'm trying to say in here. So a lot of immigrant community, I think I've been always emphasizing that because those are the people who speak the language or part of the community, and hopefully some of them will join us so that we have a connection with the community.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about race, but those people exist. I see all the people, our customer. That's how I see it from that way. Okay. So if they're my customer, I want to communicate with my customer. I want to encouraging them to be part of the team, which, I know that in King County, they do a lot diligently on that. So.
I agree. And I think we're trying to take it one step further. There's an even broader approach to diversity, and that's the neurodiversity. That's everybody having different thoughts and thinking and approaching new ideas, new ways to solve things. So when we think, we're thinking really big.
Okay, no, good. I realize this, not only that, but that not just at that event, but people read the newspaper, they'll go and say, hey, I can be a firefighter, right? I mean, so that is it, inspire them.
That's exactly what this shows them. It shows them they can do it.
Right, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
Oh, I just wanted to make a plug and say that that one single woman firefighter also started in our volunteer program, Arlie.
Yeah.
And so she came up through that program first and then migrated in and now is becoming part of South County as far as the,
Yes.
bigger picture.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting that.
Chief Maxwell, I was disappointed to hear that the grant was terminated, but I think it is an interesting area that is very challenging to get at in our community. And certainly making tries at it is important. And but I looking at it in towards the end of the year in the budget cycle, to me makes the most sense, kind of along the lines you're talking about. And so I'm hoping when you think about the data for that, you can show the data both before the health worker left or was left, I guess to say, and after, because it sounds like it may be a little different. But I think that the information will still be useful. It's just kind of that before and after will be important. Because, maybe it'll turn out that this is not the best way to go, but getting after the opioid epidemic in our community is a really challenging endeavor. And if this is a way that ends up being successful, we'll definitely want to think about it, think hard about it, grant or not, come the fall. So, the data will be important.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. We'll definitely do that. And we're not afraid if something isn't working to pivot. So, but that would be a good contrast or control we can look at. So thank you.
Any other questions on the chief's report? Very good. Thank you very much. That moves us forward in the agenda then to item number 8, which is the union report. Let's see, do we have anyone from the union tonight offering a report? Ms. Blankenship, you didn't hear anything? And I didn't hear anything from President Moore, so. All right, not seeing anybody jump up for a union report. We will go ahead then and pass over that. If something develops on that, I'm happy to come back to it. Okay, so that moves us forward in the agenda then to item number 9, which is unfinished business, starting with 9A. That's our records management consultant recommendations for action, and that's with HR Director Colin. Director Colin, good evening.
Good evening, Chair Kenny, Commissioners and Liaison. Come to you tonight seeking board approval to move forward with the contract that we have before us with Atlantis to do work on records management and information governance. As a reminder, we talked about this a fair amount last week. We've already engaged a discovery phase and process to get an even clearer idea of what we already assumed would be the challenges before us with regard to this work, and have a really solid plan to begin doing some pretty serious work over the next 2 phases. Thus, these folks wanting to sign a contract with us and have some guarantee that we'll be working together for a while. Happy to answer any questions that may have come up since last week, but I'm hoping the board will see fit to approve our signing this contract.
And board members, general questions on the subject matter or the contract for Mr. Cullen or Chief Eastman, Commissioner Chan?
Yeah, as last week, I totally support it, but also to have to be careful because you are really starting to, don't rush it, that's what I'm trying to say. Make sure that all the system is really right way to do it, because otherwise we can continue to change, because this was our model. So I think it's important to do it right. And then you can continue, of course, changing everything else, and just don't rush it just for the sake of rushing it. So that's my cautions on that.
I think that's a really good point. Frankly, the next 2 phases are in some degree overlapping.
Right.
And a lot of that overlapping work is continued discovery and really looking at what do we have and how might we categorize it conceptually, academically, before we do anything from a systems perspective that would lock us out from other options. So it's really taking a very good look at how would we build this thing if we were just sketching it out before we do any technical work.
Yeah, I think I have experience in my private industry and do that. Sometimes try and rush it. And then it's more problem when you're trying to changing it and driving people crazy, right? You train them one way, this and oh, we got to change the system that way. So that's from my experience. It's not good. Okay.
Any other general questions on the subject? We don't have the actual contract in front of us, but just a motion to approve the chief to approve the proposal. Does that work, Chief?
Yep, that works.
Okay. Well, then I will move that we authorize the chief to approve the Atlantis, the Atlantis management records management proposal. Second by Commissioner Teoflag. So I moved and seconded to do that. Is there discussion on the motion?
I just want to
Commissioner
comment,
Chan, go ahead.
just comment, that is a long-awaited project. I'm glad that we're getting started. Thank you.
Other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Commissioner Rowland, how do you vote on that?
Aye. Aye.
Very good. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Chief, anything else on that? That covers it. Excellent. Well, that moves us forward then in the agenda to item 9B, which is the Edmonds annexation documents for approval. Chief Eastman.
Good evening again. I've got legal counsel, Richard Davis is on. And with the annexation now completed and the actual date coming up, June 1, there's some, I'm going to say, actions. We, by virtue of the pre-annexation agreement, the board approved the pre-annexation agreement as part of the annexation documents. The station use agreement for 17 was an exhibit in that. The Edmonds fire prevention ILA was an exhibit in that. And if you recall, the temporary service agreement was also an exhibit in that. In consulting with Richard, he recommended we bring these back forward before the board to have you approve each one of these as standalone ILAs. I want to say that the Edmonds prevention ILA is as it was presented in the pre-annexation agreement. There's some issues, and if you look at in the packet, there's a red line copy of. We didn't realize this from our side, and I don't think Edmonds realized it as we were negotiating the pre-annexation agreement with Station 17, that they have like fiber line that comes in through that station and goes not just to the city of Edmonds, but to third parties. They have need to get access to the circuit breaker for power because it's connected to the police shop. And so there's some easement work we need to work out. So, and as you recall, Station 17 is part of the city complex. And so there's a couple things we didn't know from our side. And as their legal counsel and staff went through the agreement, realized that there's some things they need to do to make sure they have access to do that work. And so there's a red line version in that I know Richard is okay with, but I guess with that, I'd like to pause and have Richard kind of go over that. And then there's probably most likely going to be an addendum that will come forward on or before the 1st of August that will address those issues that will become part of the ILA. So unfortunately with Station 17, this looks like two parts. One, to get the station use agreement done. And then when we get done with where they need access to make sure that, I mean, the goal is to not give them access for the things in the city that run through that building. We did it with Station 19. And so with that, I'll pause and let Richard weigh on either the fire marshal agreement or the station use agreement.
Richard, Mr. Davis, you're muted. Still muted. No.
You can charge it if you can hear it.
Well, I guess what that says is that I get back, I get back to go back and talk. So, like I said, I think I saw Richard nodding when we were talking, is there's language in there that addresses Station 17. It opens up the ability for us to bring back an amendment that deals with, I'm going to call easements, for lack of a better term. Now, legal counsel may call those different things, but to make sure that they have access to their fiber line, if they need to, access to the circuit breaker. The other issue that they had in there was that the power meter is a joint power meter between the station and the cop side of their public safety building. And so we need to figure out a way to actually split that bill and some of those other administrative things to work out that will be part of an amendment that we'll bring forward once we get that figured out, in addition to the current draft that you have in front of you. So what we would look for is approval of the station use agreement in the red line, and approve that, with knowing that we're going to come back with an addendum in the very near future once we address those issues. And there's probably some other issues that we don't know about yet. That list may become a little bit longer as they go and do their discovery to realize what they really need access for. And then the fire marshal agreement's pretty straightforward. It's very similar to Malt Lake Terrace. The only thing that I recall might be a little bit different is each city wanted how they remit back to us maybe a little bit different. And then how we incorporate our fee schedule into theirs. I know most of them do it in the fall. I know City of Briar does it in February. And so other than that, they're the same as the rest of them. So with that, I'll take any other questions that the board has on either one of those two topics.
Other questions from the board members?
Can I,
Commissioner Chan?
am I up to my limit now?
Well,
What?
you're coming close.
yes, yes.
You're coming
Keep going
close.
on.
Go
No,
ahead.
I just know that last time I discussed, I don't like the quick clean D thing. But my question is that if later on we find something really we didn't find out, would there be issues in there? I assume that we both is reasonable. We can amend it again and amend it again. Is there any limit on that?
Are you,
Oh,
can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, Richard.
Okay, great. Commissioner Chan, yes, if the document needs to be amended again, I mean, it requires both parties to consent to that. But if we were to find something that needed to be amended, we'd go to the city and ask for an accommodation in that regard, just like the city has asked for, this accommodation here where they need access to certain parts of the premises. And the city attorney called and said, we'd like to have this language incorporated into the agreement. Same goes for us, but it does require mutual consent.
But anyway, but that here's the agreement, but we're annexed already. There's no any other, we cannot continue any big, if you do not agree, there's going to be a problem?
If you don't agree, then there might, you might go to the dispute resolution provision of the agreement. But if you want a new term, for instance, it would require a mutual agreement of the parties. Yeah. Or a
Okay,
change to an existing term. Yes.
okay, good, thank you.
Other questions, comments from the board members? Yeah, Chief Eastman, I would just say this reminds me of some of the issues with Station 15, I believe it is, the Linwood Civic Center station, where it's on their campus. They transferred it to us in the creation of the RFA, but there's just a lot of city-related easements or issues or parking or other things related to that building. This reminds me of that. We just want to stay flexible and work with the city on these issues because I think we want to accommodate this and we appreciate them accommodating us if something was, there was something we needed access to and we kind of returned the favor. And so this seems like it's very reasonable to do. And I think we can, we can amend it as many times as necessary to work it out. It's not, I don't see it as adversarial in that sense. We can make this happen. So good. Any other questions? Because otherwise, Chief, I think we're ready for action then. So why don't I go ahead and move the adoption? We'll start with the use agreement. I'm sorry, start with, yes, the use agreement for Station 17. So I'll move the adoption of the use agreement with South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue Regional Fire Authority for Fire Station 17 with the City of Edmonds. Sorry. I move that. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to adopt that use agreement for Station 17. Is there discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion. If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And that turns us then to the ILA for fire code services. I'll move the adoption of the interlocal agreement between South County Fire and the City of Edmonds for fire code official services. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Teofilak. It's been moved and seconded to adopt that ILA for fire code services. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you for doing that. Just a quick update. Richard's working with legal counsel on the other side for the other master bill of sales and the quick claims. And so that work is still being done on the backside, and Richard's working that with legal counsel on the City of Edmonds. And I think we'll give an update on the workshop or the spring workshop on the 3rd on the status of all that and where things are at. But I want to let you know that's still in work and Richard's working on that with legal counsel from the city of Edmonds.
So Chief, still some more documents to come in future
I
meetings?
don't think the documents need to go to you guys. I think there's just, so the quitclaim deeds for Station 20, Station 16, master bill of sale that goes along with those two stations and and those pieces need to be still worked through, get filled out and then get signed by the mayor. And then we take it up to the county and get it recorded in those pieces. So that work still needs to be done. And there may be something else that I'm forgetting, but Richard's got the list. And I think these are the two items that needed to actually have board approval. I think the rest of it is the city will sign it, then we'll take it in and get it recorded with the county and do the work. I need to freshen up on it because it's been a while since we've done it, but I want to let you know that's still working. I don't believe there's anything that formally needs to come to the board for approval. We'll just give you an update that we've completed the checklist and everything's completed, or if something still needs to be completed, you'll know what that is too on the 3rd of June.
That sounds good. Chief, this is our last meeting for May before the June 1 switchover of Edmonds becoming part of South County Fire. Can you just give us an update of, are we all set for June 1st?
Yeah, I think we're set for June 1st. I think, operationally and what's going on, on the day-to-day operations, nothing's changed. We're going to continue to do what we do. I think we're going to have some conversations at the spring workshop that maybe look at some things that we can look at doing shortly thereafter that we'll discuss then. And then, if we get consensus moving forward, then we'll have some more conversations to have with the new RFA members, i.e. the city of Edmonds residents as they come in. But I think outside of making sure that we finish up what needs to be done on the Station 17 use agreement, and then the rest of the documents that Richard's working on to transfer the assets to the RFA, those were the big things to get completed. And then I'm sure there'll be some former or future conversations with the city of Edmonds now that this is done and how things play out and move forward from there. But other than that, things are going well and we're doing well.
Sounds good. Commissioner Chan.
Yeah, Intergovernment Committee, Commissioner Withers and I originally were thinking about going there, but since he's not in town, so I will go down on the next Tuesday meeting and just say, welcome. If there's any other commissioner want to join me or you, I think that's a good gesture to them. So at least they know okay, we officially, welcome them to the family.
And Commissioner Chan, I just would say that I did send a letter to the mayor doing that, and also ask, reiterating the right of the city to appoint a non-voting board member.
Okay.
And so I haven't heard back on the non-voting board member, and I don't think the chief has either. So still time for the city to take action. And of course, they don't have to take action for that first meeting. I did advise them about the June 3 meeting, but they don't have to have a representative for that meeting, but just, for any subsequent meetings, it's their right to do that. I'm sure they are going to appoint somebody, but
Yeah, but
we'll see.
we were thinking about just going to public comments.
Yeah,
It's a
oh,
fair-
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just that thing.
Yeah.
Right? Commissioner Withers, do you have any additional to add? It's good?
No, I don't. Well
Okay.
put. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on the Edmonds issue from board members? Any other discussion? Okay, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Davis. That moves us forward then in the agenda to item number 10, which is new business. And that brings us to the asset inventory results and a resolution related to it with Chief Curtis. Chief Curtis, good evening.
Good evening, Board Chair, Board Liaisons, staff, and guests. I apologize, I'm reporting to you remotely from a work conference in Phoenix. Hopefully you can hear me okay, and I'll keep it very brief. In compliance with our financial policies, I'm providing you an update on the results of the 2024 asset inventory. This is a two-part update requesting follow-up of board action for a resolution declaring identified items as surplus. Last year, I should say, logistics staff tracked 1,707 assets with an original value totaling over $6.8 million. This year's inventory resulted in 9 items with a value of $23,081.32 of not being accounted for. Please keep in mind that in a large complex organization such as South County Fire, this is a very small number and reflects some of the improvements we've made over the years in our logistics division with the assistance of all other divisions, primarily in operations and IT. We continue to make improvements using our inventory management software with the goal of a 100% compliance. Many times, some items are damaged or sent out for repair, and they're inadvertently disposed of without following the proper process, as we believe was the case this year. So with that, we're working on continued improvements. That pretty much concludes my presentation to the board for our annual asset inventory, and I'm asking for your acknowledgement and consideration for the companion resolution of 05202025-11, declaring 9 items with a value of $23,081.32 surplus for disposal. And with that, I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Questions or comments from commissioners on the asset inventory issue or presentation from Chief Curtis? Chief Curtis, I did have a question for you off the list of items that were not found, that I wanted to talk for a second about the multiples on there. So there's 2 cameras, 2 SCBAs, and 2 laptops. And I just wanted to know if you would comment about the nature of those items being the ones that are, they caught my eye because they were multiples on the list.
Yeah,
something in the nature of those that were more likely to be lost in some fashion or otherwise. I don't know. Any thoughts about that?
What stood out for me is the value of 2 particular items, the 2 SCBAs together. Those I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I believe it valued about $18,000 for those 2 items, which is a large portion of what we're talking about. And my mistake, it's $16,000 for those 2 items. The 2 cameras, we can't attribute that to any particular case or instance, other than we don't believe that those items are necessarily gone in this particular case with the SCBAs. We simply can't identify where they are. So unfortunately, we have to report them per policy and state RCWs as lost assets, asking for your consideration for disposal.
Commissioner Kenny, I think when James or Chief Curtis was talking about the fact that some of these get sent to replacement, and then and this is I'll speak to the computers because I know this has happened in the past. We send a Dell laptop in to get it replaced or repaired, and they send us a different laptop in return. And so we actually inventory that laptop, and then we're working on this, and this is that we don't actually take. So we got a replacement laptop, but the laptop that we send in repair stays in the books, and they don't get reconciled to where this asset was really, it's not lost, and we didn't lose it. We got a new laptop that replaced it, put the new asset inventory off, and that happens from time to time. I know that's with laptops that happens. I know like thermal imaging cameras where you send it back in and they send you a new one back, and then and I know James and the team are working on rectifying, or not rectifying is the wrong term, but closing the loop. So when we get a replacement asset, that we connect the 2 together so we know that it wasn't lost. So some of the computers, that's common because of the way we send them out, because the way IT, has the warranty part of Dell, send it back, and then we get a replacement. And so I know that has happened too, to answer maybe part of the question of why.
And on those higher value SCBA items, those are two SCBAs out of just chief, a guesstimate of how many SCBAs do we have?
Off the top of my head, I'd say at least 150.
A lot.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And we move them around with the academy. And I mean, we do a lot of things, and that's not an excuse at the end. But again, I know the team doesn't like the list of 9, and they would prefer the list to be 0. But I do remember the days when that list was 3 pages long and not a single page where we can have a conversation and talk about legitimately where things are and what we think happens. So we've made great improvements. We still have work to do.
Chief, do you attribute the reduction in the number of these to in part to the tracking software?
Yep, I think it's tracking software. And James, go ahead. I see you want to say something.
No, absolutely, Chief. Being more familiar with the software that we have at our disposal, educating our staff on how to input, having systems in place that have our line crews do quarterly inventory asset checks. This is 100% a result of having better, more vibrant software, and then having staff that their full-time focus is managing our assets, such as our folks in our logistics and central stores facility.
And I guess I'll add, because James may not say it, his team has done a lot of process work. I mean, we have really good software to do this work, but there's process and procedure and stuff that has to be in place along with the software for the software to do what it wants to do, want it to do. And so I will tell you, I know that the logistics division has been working on process and efficiencies within that process. And I think that has as much to do with the reduction on this list as the software, because they work in conjunction. One is not, I mean, you can have great software, but if you don't have the processes and the other pieces in play to utilize that to its best ability, and that's often the stuff that goes, I know what they're doing because we talk about process organizationally in this building to become efficient, and we've committed to do that for the board as we look at resource needs down the road. Logistics is a prime example of a mountain of process that they need to work through to make them more efficient. And it's a really young division, this organization, to be honest. And they've done a lot of work, but I guess I want to say it's not just the software. There's a lot of process work being done. And it's not just by logistics, it's the operations division, it's the EMS division, it's the facilities subcomponent of logistics that all work together to make this continue to be better as we move forward. So it's a combination of multiple things, Commissioner Kenny.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
I really try not to chime in here, but I guess I have to. The reason we got this software and everything, a long time ago, we got auditor sending us, remember that? That's why we bought this software and everything else in there. I assume every single computer, you have a tag, right? For it. And now I know that pretty cheap. I know that people put luggage in what they call in tracer, whatever, the locations of the thing you can track. Are we able to do that too, or just too many?
No, I think I'm not going to speak for Chris G, the IT manager, but I do know they have the ability to do some of those things. I don't know exactly how he has it played, and I don't know exactly how he does it.
Right.
And yeah, they're tagged, and all the computers are tagged. I think where things end up getting, like I said before, with that is, I actually don't think we just lost a computer. I think what ended up happening is that IT sent it in to get fixed, and they got a different one back.
But my thinking is that people can put what they call tracer, really inexpensive, and then get tracing where the luggage went to. If we have that, would that be able to do it? But another thing, biggest concern is the data, right? Because if someone come in, took the data, that's another
Yeah,
concern. that we
no,
have.
I know. I will tell you, IT manages that and there's other ways that they can fix that. So.
Okay.
Any other questions on this subject? If not, I think we're ready for the resolution. I'll move the adoption of Resolution 05202025-11, authorizing the surplus of assets following the annual asset inventory. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to adopt that resolution. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you on behalf of staff.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Curtis.
Thank you.
That moves us forward in the agenda then to, that was new business. That takes us to committee updates, item number 11. And we will start with capital facilities. Commissioner Lawrence.
Nothing to report.
All right. That takes us then to finance and human resources, Commissioner
Yeah, it will
Chan.
be on this Thursday. We have two items. We'll do policy and there's two items that we're going to discuss. The members, do they have any more addition, anything suggest?
Commissioner Chan, we had the finance committee last week, Thursday afternoon.
I thought this is the third week.
I don't know. We actually had the committee meeting last week, Thursday. Just again, if we want to have another one, I just letting you know, we
No.
had the meeting last Thursday.
Okay, I'm mistaken. I did, because usually the third meeting. I don't know why we have that meeting last week. Okay, yeah, but we're supposed to be the third, this is the third meeting, the third 40. Yeah, okay.
All right, let's turn to intergovernmental. Commissioner Wittes.
Thank you, Chair. We haven't had a meeting, nothing to report, but I will be back there for the workshop and we will set up a meeting after that.
Sounds good. And finally, Snow 911, Commissioner Furnoff.
Yes, good evening. Happy to say that May 15th, last week, we had the ribbon cutting for the new Snow 911 Center. Multiple agencies, including our friends at Support 7 and lots of volunteers were there to help us celebrate that achievement. There was noted in our Snow 911 meeting that there's a problem, not on our side, but it's actually on the PCERN side, which is the Puget Sound Emergency Radio Network to our south in King County, that they had not updated their radio equipment. And as a result, our interoperability across the lines was not as smooth as it could have been. We deployed, what was it, 25 portables, Chief?
I know at least 15.
At least 15, okay. And it may be more on the law enforcement side, but that was reported out at our meeting. So we do have interoperability. It's a matter of PCERN, which is the agency we do not control. It's the other agency, to reprogram and update their radios to match ours. So other than that, it was a success. We even had our photos taken because apparently we get another ID card for that agency. So thank you so much.
Great. Any questions for Commissioner Furnoff? Great. Thank you. So that is committee updates. That takes us to commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments? Any commissioner comments? All right, not seeing any commissioner comments. Thank you. That moves us forward then to executive session. Item number 13, we'll have two items for executive session. The first is collective bargaining pursuant to RCW 4231-44, item sub 4, the Genus grievance. And the second item is potential litigation pursuant to RCW 4230-110-1I. Chief, well, we're close enough to our break. We'll take like a 9-minute break to 8:05 before we get started. But I'm thinking 30 minutes to start with or more.
I think 30 minutes is adequate to start with.
What, I was just looking for, I don't see her on there. Okay. Okay, we'll start with that. So, but, so it'll be, we'll call it for 30 minutes from 8:05 to 8:35. For those two items, we will have counsel with us for, actually, I think both. And we do anticipate taking action at the conclusion of executive session. So we will come back to regular session at the conclusion of executive session. So 30 minutes, we'll be in a brief recess heading back to executive session. And without objection, we will be in a brief recess to executive session. Thank you.
says about God, I wouldn't forget it. That was brutal.
Okay, are we ready to go back on the record, Ms. Blankenship? Okay. Okay, we are back on the record for the South County Fire Board of Commissioners regular board meeting for May 20th, 2025. We are back out of executive session. It is approximately 9:06 PM. We're ready to continue back to the main meeting. After our executive session, the item we're going to take up is the Genus grievance appeal. And I make a motion that the board affirm the decision of Chief Eastman to deny the Genus grievance appeal. Is there a second?
One second.
A second to Commissioner Teofilak. It's been moved and seconded to affirm the decision of Chief Eastman. Is there discussion on the motion? I'll just offer that I appreciate the materials submitted by Local 1828, but Chief Eastman's decision, in my opinion, is meritorious. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. I believe that is the last of the business for the board. Anything?
Just,
Sorry, Chief Eastman.
oh,
Sorry, before we move on, we do need to I'll do a brief letter to Local 1828, just reflecting what we've done and sign that, and I'll do that for tomorrow.
please do.
And then I'll share that with the board and of course, send that to President Moore. So I'll put that together.
Just
Sorry,
one,
Chief Eastman,
just one thing, I meant to do it to go to the order if this is appropriate.
go ahead.
Just my boy graduates from the Air Force Academy next week. So I will be probably unavailable a couple days next week. So please, if you have any questions, call Sean. I'll be back that Saturday night. So just want to let the board know I'll be out of town and probably not available. I'll have my stuff with me, but the reality is cell phones and stuff don't work where I'm going until I get out of the area. So just wanted to let the board know.
I just want to congratulations to your son's graduation. That's important.
Okay, we have no other business to before the board. So without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.